Mondays with Nick and Trina Brinson. We just would like to thank everybody for coming on tonight and sharing with us on this Monday night. We just want to thank our bishop and our first lady for allowing us to continue to do the broadcast, and by the names of Lady Denise Bush and Finest Bush Jr. And we just want to thank them for allowing us to do what we do on Monday nights.
Right. And so, as always, our goal is to encourage and to just to be of help within the kingdom of Christ, and also just to anyone who is in pursuit of a successful marriage. So it's a job. It's something to be intentional about, and a lot of people fail. A lot of people succeed. Some people kind of muddle through. But we wanted to be able to bring to you tonight an example of a way to do it well.
Right.
To do marriage well. It's a huge accomplishment when people can be married, be happy, still be in love 50 years down the line. I mean, that's something to really aspire to. Do we have audio from Blackshear? Oh, okay. We'll keep going, then we'll see. All right, so tonight I don't have this grand introduction. I was so concerned about us just getting connected. But I've referenced my parents a lot on this program. We both do, because they've sown so much into our lives through the years, and because they are such a great example, not to us, but to people throughout the community. And they've counseled couples in the work of ministry. And we just wanted to give you the voice of experience. From everybody does marriage differently. We try to emphasize that your marriage doesn't have to look like somebody else's, but you can always learn from someone who has had success. And trust me, in 50 years, I'm sure they've been through a lot of the challenges, or at least can advise and give perspective that can bring strength to your marriage as well. So we are very honored to introduce to most of you and to those from Evergreen Church that are on board, or tonight, just to introduce to you tonight and present to you my mother and father, Pastor Nathaniel Anderson and Emily, formerly Mormon Anderson. So how are you all tonight?
We're doing very well, and we are so
we don't have audio.
be able to join you all on this evening.
No, we can't hear y'all.
Oh, no, because they can't hear.
We went from double audio to no audio.
I don't. They can't. Y'all can't hear them.
Turn your phone up.
Turn it up. It is turned up.
Okay.
We had audio. We had double audio for a second. Can you call? We'll try to call. Oh, they could. Sheena says they can hear you. Oh, why can't we hear you? Are you calling Nicole?
Well, as long as you're not on their end,
but we can't have a conversation with them if we can't hear them. So if they can hear, if we can at least hear through a phone, I think that might solve our problem. Sometimes we just have to be a little creative. All right, so he's calling Mama. He's calling Nicole's phone, so she may have to put her phone near you guys so we can at least hear you.
Okay, that's your phone call. Okay.
Yeah, and Francine says she could hear y'all too.
Okay.
It's just discriminating against us, huh? Or something. My phone's turned up.
We'll get the plug up. Where's the plug in for? All right. Is that better, Trina?
It's better for us. I'm curious as to if everyone else is hearing us double, like if they hear you all through our phone or not. Ma'am?
Well, I was just going to say good evening once again. We're here, and we're delighted to be a part of Marriage Monday.
Yes, ma'am. That's good for us.
Okay, so do you have any questions?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna let can you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about um your a little bit about who you are, just kind of in your own words, briefly, and then how you met and how you just a real quick synopsis of how you met and how you got to where you are today. Isn't this your 50th year? This will be your 50th anniversary, is that right?
Well, this will be our 51st. We're starting on 51. This will be our
Okay.
51st anniversary.
Okay, so 50 years check, that's behind you.
Uh-huh.
So we need some details on how we can get to that point.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let my husband get started on. You asked how we met, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Then we're gonna let him give you a little insight on that when he saw me.
Where we met at Georgia Southern College. We were at the same time. We were and there was just a connection as far as I could see. And we just had a good connection in the time that we spent together. So it wasn't that we honestly we got we have about 50 black people on campus, but we got along very well from the beginning. I was a from the beginning.
Wow, that's great.
And likewise, and one funny thing, one of my friends who had known him for Southern, she liked him also. So I just said to him, you know, my friend liked me too, and he liked me. I said, so him has to make up his mind and decide which one he wants. And make the best choice.
Clearly.
Yeah, we've had a good marriage. We've been together now almost 51 years. And the key to any good marriage is to have Christ at the center. And I know that this is format in Christianity,
Yes, sir.
but it's just the best way to go. Anytime you have Christ at the center of your life, then it helps you to connect with everything else around.
Yeah.
So
So let me just ask and be messy for just a little bit. So what made you choose her over the other girl?
well, she was just the one I liked. The other girl was nice and everything, but we just had a connection. I
Okay.
just enjoyed being around her, spending time with her. That made all the difference in the world.
Yes, sir. Besides Christ being the center, and that's the most important part. What are some other qualities that make a good, long-lasting relationship, a marriage?
One major thing is being committed to your spouse. That means no matter what goes on, we're going to be able to work through this. And with Christ being the center, then that's our checkpoint. Each one of us can check in with what the Word of God says to help us as individuals. And if you are committed to a person, then no matter what happens, you all are going to do what you can to work through whatever issues you have. Anytime two adults come together, you have to learn each other. And then once you decide to have someone as your spouse, you just resolve to the fact that that's my husband, that's my wife, and no one else can be compared to them. And we're going to work through whatever issues you may have. And you will have issues because you're dealing with two different personalities.
And the word divorce was not an option. We never threatened to leave or threatened to get a divorce. We just had our mind made up that whatever happened, we were just going to work it out. we were just committed, like she said, just committed to life with each other. And it doesn't matter what happens in life. If you have that commitment, you can work it out. And I heard a very popular marriage counselor, marriage ministry, Evans. He said that every marriage has a 100% chance of being successful. And I believe that. I believe if you are committed to it and you trust God and allow God to show you what to do and how to do it, you can have a good marriage. Because depending on how much work you put in it, how much you are dedicated to it.
Okay, those are excellent points. I am going to recap that because we had some feedback going on, but we made some adjustments here that I think helped out. So some of the things that the points you made that people might not have heard was, Mama, you were saying commitment.
Yes.
That really understanding that you have a commitment to that person and keeping that commitment to that person is a quality, an attribute that leads to a long-lasting marriage. And also no divorce, counseling out that mindset, because every marriage has an opportunity to succeed. And also knowing from the beginning, because, and I just want to emphasize, sure, that was one of the things we learned when we were doing our premarital counseling program, was that you have to choose for divorce to not be an option. That's a choice you have to opt out of divorce. And so those are two points that were made while our audio was kind of a little shaky there. You got another question here?
Yes. How can you manage roles in a relationship? Roles have basically changed somewhat between the years that y'all were married to maybe some of the counseling that y'all have done recently, as far as the roles of the man and the wife. How has that changed in your observation over the years?
Well, again, going back to the Bible, and the Bible says that the husband is the head of the wife, and that Christ is the head of the man. And the wife is supposed to be subject unto her husband, just as Christ is subject to the church. Well, the man being the head of the house does not make him the boss of the house. It does not make him the dominant figure, nor does it make him smarter or more important. The only reason he is the head of the house is because that's what God designated. And being the head of the house means that you should set guidelines for your home. And when you set guidelines for your home, you should be the first one following those guidelines. And then the rest of the family can follow behind you. And if the Bible says, husband, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church. And if you love your wife the way Christ loved the church, you won't have any problem with the wife submitting to you. Because in the results, it really means that she's submitting to Christ. Whenever she submitted to you and you have submitted to Christ. But the roles have changed a lot. In our society, we have a lot of homes where there are no man or no male figure in the home. And the wife have to take the part as lead head of the household. But when the man is there, it is our role to guide our family toward God. And when your children see you, that's basically their concept of God at an early age. And so the pattern that we sets the pattern for the whole family. Now, Emily and I have a little bit of a disagreement on one issue. And that is, I believe, like in a home, you have a thermostat and you have a thermometer. The thermometer tells you what the house temperature is. The thermostat tells you what the house temperature is supposed to be. And I believe that the man is the thermostat in the house. He sets the attitude for the entire house. He sets the personality. He sets everything that should be going on in the house. He is the one that set that. If you come in and you're kind to your wife, it's a good way she's going to turn around and be kind to you. And then the children seeing you being kind to each other, then they will be kind to each other too. And so we set the atmosphere for our home. And like I said, we have a little disagreement in that because she feels like the wife is the one that set the atmosphere at home. And I think that's good because if each one of us have the atmosphere desire, know that we are setting the atmosphere for the home. It'll be a good home. It'll be a good place to be. And your children will feel safe, and you will feel safe with each other.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Amen. That's good. Now, if we're, I appreciate that answer. That was a very clear explanation that included theology. So that was, I appreciate that. It was very well done, very clear. On a more practical level, when we start, well, not more practical, but when we start looking at duties within the home, because that there, okay, you already shake your head. You already see where I'm going with that. That can vary from family to family. So what advice can you give for couples that are trying to sort out those duties? Because some people come to the table already assuming, well, you the wife, you're supposed to cook every night.
Or you the husband, you're supposed to take out the trash.
Exactly. So how can couples sort that out without that becoming a place of division for them?
Yeah, you have to learn to, first of all, learn to discuss things. Many times we come into a marriage with preconceived ideas, but that may not necessarily work for your marriage, especially nowadays because of our desires and our goals that we have for our family and our desire to live at a certain status. Both are working outside of the home now. So the man, the female, she goes out and she helps and she works too. So just as she share in that responsibility to bring in funds to help the family, the other spouse should also share in the responsibility of maintaining the household. So this would require a conversation because depending on how you were raised, you might assume that the female is supposed to cook every day and that this is supposed to happen that way or whatever, but you have to find out what works for your household so that everyone can enjoy the family and get the rest that each person needs so that they can go out and be successful at their jobs the next day. So that requires, see, before you get married, see, these are some things that you should talk about before you get married, and then have a clear discussion about that. So if you marry someone and they expect you to cook 3 meals a day or to get up and you have to be to work at 7 and they don't have to be to work at 8, and then they expect you to cook a full course meal for breakfast for them. See, all these things should be put out on the table during marriage counseling before you get married. And when you do that, then you can know each other's expectations. And if it's something that you feel like that, I know this is not going to work for me, that's the time to discuss it and for each of you to come up with a plan that each person can give their consensus that this is, yes, we can do this, we can work it out this way.
And you have to realize that marriage is a partnership. It's not to the point where one person having an advantage over the other person. Like the question that you asked before about evolving in the roles. When we first got married, I would go out and I worked a job, but she stayed home with the children. So she made sure that the house was made comfortable for me when I got back home. She would get up in the morning and cook breakfast. And then when I came home, I knew I had dinner. And I would do my part, of course, supplying, but I knew I had to help her also with the children. But as the children grew and they began to leave the house, and she began to become employed also, then we just share responsibilities. We share financial responsibilities and we share household responsibilities. Now, I don't cook.
You've been learning. We had a lesson or two. You learning.
Yeah, I learned since you gave us that air fryer, and when your mom got COVID, and I had to learn how to cook breakfast and different things. I won't tell you that, but I do a lot of other things. Now, for instance, like I say, I don't cook. At the same time, she's not going out there to help cut grass.
Exactly.
She's not working in the flower garden. She's not helping to paint. It's just certain things that she just don't do. And then there are certain things that I don't do as a regular basis. But I pitch in and I help. We've been married for 50 years. And this year, when I got injured in my arm, she went out there and helped me in the flower garden.
I saw that.
That's our first time working in the yard. I have to take a picture and send it.
That's the first time I've ever seen her outside, work, doing anything outside.
That's exactly right. But you just have to learn to adjust. Now, and the main thing is learn to make the other person enjoy you and enjoy being safe. Don't let it be about I got to have my way. I got to be the one happy. I want her to be happy. I want her to know that I will love her being my wife, and I want her to enjoy me being her husband, not just out of obligation, something that we enjoy doing. I told somebody that most likely my wife will outlive me, but I want to make it hard for the next person to come behind me. I hope that she's able to find somebody else, and still carry on her life. But I want to make it hard for him to fill my shoes.
Yes, sir.
We'll be on the lookout if that situation arises. Trust me. He would have some big shoes to fill. That is some of the best advice I've ever heard, and I hadn't heard it worded that way. Is to try to make it so that the other person enjoys being your spouse. That's a really great perspective that can be a guiding point. So I appreciate that. I have to work on that.
Yep.
And it goes both ways. I'm pretty sure that advice has been both ways.
I
right?
took that in, I take in snippets.
One thing you mentioned, I didn't want to gloss over Mom in that garden, because I'm telling you, that was a sacrifice.
But the reason I did that was because it was important to him, and he was not able to do that because his shoulder injured. But he wanted some event was coming up, and he wanted the front garden to look good, like it normally does. So
yes, it always looks landscaped.
Yes, so I did that because I loved him, and that's why I got out there in that sun and got down on my knees and was digging in the dirt and carrying on, and I did all of that just because that was something that was important to him.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I enjoyed that. I really did.
I tell you what, Mommy, you set a good example.
Well,
We'll see one day.
Look, I gotta grow. Look, it took me 50 years. So hey, don't be pressuring me. You mentioned a while back, just slightly, about finances, and that's something I want to mention too, because I know that through the years, the primary, not necessarily primary wage earner, but the finances have shifted over the years for y'all different ways. And that's a change that, I know people that have gotten divorced because of money, because, one person makes more or less than the other, or one person feel they have more power over another person because they're the primary wage earner. And so I can remember a time that Mama didn't work at all. Yeah. And I can remember a time that, she would go to work like around the holidays just to help out. I can remember her starting to work teaching professionally, which I'm sure was a huge increase in income at that point. And she just, of course, because she excels at pretty much whatever she does, she just kind of went up the ranks professionally. So I'm sure at some point, you could have just hung it all up and been a house dad, because I know she was making a really good income as a middle school principal administrator. So I'm sure those changes and fluctuations, but it didn't change from our perspective. We always, we never saw a shift between the two of you, regardless of where the money was coming in the house. We never saw a difference in, it was always it was clear that you were the financial leader, no matter who was bringing what in the house. It was all, the finances were always, I know that you are the primary financial manager. I think that's safe to say, of the home, and that never seemed to change or fluctuate. So I just wanted you to share some of that wisdom, because marriage is one of the number one reasons people get divorced.
Money.
Money.
Money is the
Sorry,
number one reason.
money.
Yeah, we did have a big shift in our finances because at one time I was at a job working where I was making a really good salary, and something happened where I was separated from that job. And so the Lord always blessed me to make a fairly reasonable amount of money. But it did get to a point where she was and still are making a larger income than I have. But to us, we got a lot of things we disagreed on, and probably money has never been one of them, because we set up a guideline, a pattern that works for us. We don't know how it will work for anybody else, but we know our basic responsibilities in the home, our basic bills that we have each month. And the system that we worked out is that I've always been the one that did the bookkeeping,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always the one that made sure all the bills got paid. So what happened is our lifestyle did change and increase because now you got two incomes coming in the family. But the system did not change. So what she does right now is that she will give to me approximately 1/3 of her salary. And out of that 1/3 of the salary that she gives to me, I make sure all the household expenses are paid. I even pay for her phone bill. I pay for all the gas that goes in her car. I make sure the light bill, water bill, phone bill, I make sure all of the basic bills are paid in our house. She has responsibilities that she has. She makes sure about the food items that come into the house and things like
Paper towels,
yeah,
toilet tissue.
she have her assignment that she takes care of in the family. And I have my assignment. I have a larger assignment, but she helps me with that by contributing to the expenses in the home. The system that we have is a good system that it works for us. So the money that after she gives me that 1/3, I don't be concerned with what she do with the rest of her money. And so she got free money that she held, that she do things to do with. And after she give me that, and I combine what she give me with my income, I have more than enough to take care of the financial responsibilities here at home. And I have a savings, she have a savings. Everything that I have is a joint account.
Yes.
I have accounts that, checking accounts that I write and pay bills and pay my responsibility on. She have a checking account, but all of our checking accounts are joint accounts.
Yes.
So my name is on her account, her name is on my account. I can give her my checkbook, and she can do what she desires, and she knows she don't. You know, and I don't write things on hers, but that's just a system that we have set up, and so it works for us, and we just enjoy it, and we never have any conflict concerning money. So
And we never, that was never an issue about who made more with us, because my husband said it all comes to the house.
That's
So,
Right.
yeah, so it never was an issue for us. We didn't allow it to be an issue. So we always lived up to whatever my responsibilities were. I didn't ever say, "Oh, I can't give you any money this month because I want to buy this." That never happened. Never happened. I always lived up to my responsibility. And so we also we also made sure that we gave our tithe out of the funds and our offerings, and that we set aside some funds for savings or, like the old people used to say, for a rainy day.
Yeah.
But, you need to just have funds set aside. So basically, that's what we do. We didn't allow it to become an issue at all. We did not allow it.
Um, okay, thank you. That was I heard a lot in that, honestly, the level of maturity that
Yeah.
it takes, the commitment that it takes, and there had to be some planning. I would think. I mean, do y'all sit down together? Did y'all decide together that that was the system that you would use? Did you just talk it through bit by bit, or was there a specific time that you sat down and decided this is how we're doing, or how we're going to manage the finances?
I always use a budget for our home. I have everything written down, every bill that's due, when it's due, how much is to be paid on it. And she have access to all that information. It's not anything private, believe in the sunshine law. So she know where all the money is going. And so that was a system that we set up. And in order for the household bills to be paid, then she also contributed to it because she see right there where the money's going. And she see what how it needs to be handled. And I handle it responsibly. She know that she don't have to worry about she can walk in there and turn on the faucet and the water not gonna go.
Right.
She noticed when she hit the air conditioning button and she set it on 75, it's gonna go to 75. So she know that you don't have to, the things that basic household responsibilities, she don't even think about. She don't worry about the price of gas to go in her car. She just have a credit card, she pay the bill, she buy the gas. When the credit card bill come, I pay it out. So that's just a system that we have set up, and it works for us. And like I say, nothing is hidden. I believe that she know what I have in my savings account. I know most of the time what she have in her savings account, and we just don't have any secrets when it comes to that. And I respect her, and she respects me, and we just don't have that problem. We worked it out.
Okay, that's awesome. We got one. It's 7:33. Is
Oh,
it
wow.
okay if we ask? I know. I told you it goes fast. um, is it okay if we do one more question? I know y'all had a long day.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. So the last question, or the last topic I want to kind of discuss a little bit, is the challenge of maintaining individual growth through the years, individually as well as a couple. So it can be, I want to be clear. I don't have let me see how to write question, because I kind of had my thoughts. I can't work this phone. Okay. So the question is, how can couples grow together over the years, especially when you start out so young? That was the key point, because you all were
19.
how
We were
19,
married.
19. Camille is 18. So if that gives a point of reference, that would be like her getting married next year. 19, So, and at that point in life, people don't really, you're still kind of formulating who you are becoming and what you even want to be. There's so many changes that happen between 19 and tomorrow, Mama, you are celebrating your 70th birthday.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so much applause on that, because I knew you wouldn't mind me telling that, because that's much to be happy about.
Yes.
And you don't look anywhere close to 70 by anybody's standards.
Thank you, baby.
So, and thank you for those good genes. I'm counting on that to come through. I'm counting on that. So happy birthday early to you. I know we've celebrated. But you think about from 19 to 70 years old, you all have been together. And so when you look back over the year, and that goes for both of you, not just for Mom, because Daddy, you just a couple months behind her. How do you account for being where you are? And because I'm trying not to put too much of myself in it, right, because it appears to me that you're happy with where you are in life. That's what I'll say. Okay, so how is it, and you both have accomplished gaining I don't know how many degrees y'all have between the two of you. I know Mama was killing it, just and that was having four children, and well, really four, and my oldest brother Nate, who didn't live in the home with us but would visit, still responsible for some of his care. So being able to manage 5 children and a husband, plus as active as you both were in ministry, all the years, I've never known you all not to be heavily involved in ministry. And also just being a good friend, just being the person you want to be. How do you go from being 19 years old, choosing your life partner, and until the point where you are today, without losing yourself in that other person's being too heavy on one person? I don't know if I said that well.
You said it. They understand.
Okay.
We got it.
Yeah, I believe it starts out with when you are young, you look for a role model and you look at somebody else that's doing what you're trying to do. And my role model was my uncle, St. And he was a kind of a person that he kind of took responsibility in his home as far as being a husband. He was involved with the children and their homework, and he was responsible for bringing in the finances, and he helped the wife with the shopping. So he was basically my role model. And I think my wife kind of looked at his wife partially as a role model, and there were other people. But you change from one role model to another role model as you grow. And you pick up what you can learn from a person, and then you have to kind of blend in what works for you. But what happened with me, from my part, is I moved from my uncle St. being my role model to let the Bible, the scripture, determine what I should be. Because I was thinking about it today, and it's hard for me to explain to somebody that really have not experienced what I'm talking about. But you can get to a place where you love God and you love his word to a point that you try to shape your life based upon how the Bible describes a husband is supposed to be, and how the Bible describes how a father is supposed to be, and a provider, and the priest in the household. And so I read the word of God, and I listen to other people that teach the word of God. And I look at other men older than I am that are good role models in their home. And so I set my vision on what I want our home to be. And it's always based upon the word of God. And I treat my wife in a way that I feel like she feels important. I want her to feel important. I want her to know how valuable she is in the home. And so I focus more on her and on the children than my own personality and my own personal gain. But that's how I become identified with the way I identify myself with the word of God and with my family. Now she probably got it.
Yeah, I just would like to add to that. Whatever we aspired to do, we supported each other.
Yeah.
When I decided to go back to college after being out of high school for 13 years, I always had great support from him. And he started learning back then a little bit about washing clothes and doing some things back then. I can remember him calling Mama Coulson and asking her, I think it was Mama Coulson, about how to cook something for the children as I went off to class. So we learned to support each other in our aspirations to do better. So basically, our roles changed. Now, at first, when I was married at 19, I'm a person always, I strive for peace. So I didn't make any waves. If my husband wanted something a certain way, and this is before we accepted the Lord into our lives, I didn't make any waves, because I just wanted peace in the household. So, but after we got saved in 1973, and he began to learn his role, then I became a little bit more, what's the right? Independent in expressing myself. Because, you know, I was basically a teenager when I got married. And by the time, before I was 25, I had all my children. So basically, I kind of grew with you guys, but you always knew that we were the parents.
Right.
So our roles, you know, it sort of evolved into where we are today. And then after we accepted the Lord into our lives, I just learned to walk in my lane and to understand what submission is. And I finally learned that everyone has a head. And as my husband is the head of the family and the head of the wife, but Jesus is his head. So if we could not come to a consensus about something, we wouldn't argue about it. I would just go and pray and ask the Lord to deal with him. But I always did what I was supposed to do in the house. I always cooked. I did not withhold sex. I didn't do any of those things that will cause any type of negativity to grow in your marriage. So you have to be careful as females about the type of seeds that we sow, because you will see it again and it will be multiplied. So we sort of evolved into where we are today. As we took on knowing Christ, then we became who you see today.
And I think one of the major things is what she said from the beginning. We always supported each other. When she wanted to go back to school, I remember she was going to school part-time and she was working at a sewing factory part-time. And I came home from work one day and she was in the house crying. And I said, well, what's the matter? She said, the lady on my job told me I had to make a choice. I had to either go to school or go to work.
Or work for her.
Or work for her. I said, well, quit and go to school. Because I knew that's what she wanted to do. And when I got ready to come in the ministry, the Lord led me in the ministry. I didn't know what I was doing, but she just jumped right in there and she just helped me and we learned it together. We just always supported one another. That's how we maintained our individuality. I didn't think that the whole thing had to be around me, and she didn't think it had to be around her. We just supported each other.
That's good. It is. We appreciate that answer. That was fabulous. You want to add something?
No, I mean, what has been said tonight has been, you know, a lot of the comments they've been thanking you for your wisdom and your insight on, you know, the longevity of a relationship, a marriage. And me and my wife want to just thank y'all for coming on and sharing this little bit of time with us, and we appreciate it. Like you said, you made a very important point that I've never heard anybody really say, but I've thought about it. Is that when you're trying to figure out how to do the marriage, you get mentors. You attach to people in a way that you say, okay, look like they're doing it like I want to do it. So when you do that, you attach mentors to your life. And I can honestly say, you know, looking at y'all marriage, I definitely have attached you, Papa Anderson, as a mentor. And the way you do it and the way you've done it over the years, and I can honestly say I hadn't seen it change or, you know, any rockiness or turbulent times in the house. And I've been around 25 years. And thank y'all for allowing me to be around.
We're our family.
Yes. We are so delighted to have you, Nick. I was telling someone that the other day that we are so thankful you loving Trina and becoming a part of our family.
All right. Yeah. Well, we just want to formally thank y'all tonight for coming on with us, and you know, there are not enough thanks that we can say for just sharing with the people that we broadcast to on Monday nights, and hopefully, well, ain't no hopefully, I know they got something out of it based on the comments. And with that said, I think this is our ending. You got anything you want to end with?
No, just appreciative, not just for tonight, but just in general. You've always been very supportive of us and have always lent an ear when needed. You just couldn't have been any better than what you've been. So I appreciate you. We appreciate you, and sounds like our audience has been very appreciative too. So we appreciate your time as well, and I hope you have a wonderful birthday tomorrow. And I think that's gonna do it for me.
Yep. With that said, we just want to thank Pastor Nathaniel Anderson and Minister Emily Anderson, my in-laws and father and mother figure, and Trina's parents for coming on with us tonight. We just want to say we're grateful to you and we love you.
Love you
With
too.
that said,
Happy on.
yes, sir. With that said, from the lady and the coach, we love y'all. Good night.
Good night. Love y'all.